I'm Adam Housley, and you're in the strategy room. Donald Trump's visit to the border Thursday garnered much media attention as the businessman met with local law enforcement officials. This latest stop by Trump is once again overshadowing any other coverage for his Republican rivals, with Trump on top of the polls. Can anyone knock him out of first place? Here with their take are political strategists Basil Smikle Jr. and Chris Turner. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Good to be here.
Thank you.
All right, I'm going to start with you, Chris. You know, as one of our producers said, this is kind of like that guy or gal you're dating, and it's a lot of fun, but there's really no way you're going to marry this person. Is that kind of what's happening right now with Trump, where a lot of people are just, hey, this is the fun guy right now? We saw this back in 2008 as well, people surging to the front that eventually ended up being really towards the bottom. But right now, he continues to dominate the news coverage, and I suspect he's loving it.
Yeah, you know he is, and this is where he shines. I mean, I guess had the pleasure or displeasure, depending on how you look at it, of working on 4 presidential campaigns, and what I've learned is that they're really about 2 things. They're about momentum and they're about spotlight, and a particular media spotlight. And Donald Trump is a savant. I mean, this is his world, the ability to grab that spotlight and hold on to it. And I think if you read the coverage out there, what the more traditional or professional candidates are banking on is that they're going to offset his command, his celebrity, if you will, his command of kind of what the real marketplace of news is looking for. They're going to balance that out with maybe some old school political acumen, you know, some grassroots organization at the local level in Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. And, you know, and I think they're also just hoping every single day that Trump is going to say something that just blows his campaign to smithereens. And,
so Basil, like, off of what Chris said about his say something, I mean, even yesterday, he got after a Telemundo reporter, basically shut him down in the middle of a question. He brought up a guy named Jesus, who basically said there didn't need to be a wall after he's been saying there needed to be a wall. I mean, watching him, I mean, you have to admit, we're this early on in the campaign, there's so many on both sides of the political aisle that sound the same. I mean, you can say that whether you like his politics or not, he is definitely a breath of fresh air when it comes to the way he handles himself at these press conferences.
Well, I tell you, I think Chris is absolutely right in all of this. He is a media savant, if you will. What I find to be interesting, though, is that even though you say it's early in the process, we actually have debates coming up very, very soon. And one of the things that I think is keeping him on sort of as a leader in the polls is that I think a lot of Republicans and perhaps even some Democrats want to see him at a debate, you know, talking about, you know, folks to his left and to his right, perhaps calling out, not ideologically, but physically to his left and to his right on that stage, calling them out for them being too scripted and too packaged. And I think there are a lot of voters, particularly on the right, that really want to see some level of just candor on the campaign trail. Ultimately, I don't think that wins him votes in a statewide primary anywhere. But I do think it will, as Chris was saying, it'll sort of force his opponents to shift how they actually campaign.
Yeah, right. And here's the scary thing,
Chris,
guys.
it seems, well, go ahead, Chris.
Go ahead, Adam.
I was just going to say, it seems that the only way for GOP rivals to get any attention is to go after him. We saw Lindsey Graham's commercial that came out yesterday after Trump, in one of his moments, basically giving out Lindsey Graham's phone number. Graham did, which was parried online and on television. He basically destroyed a number of cell phones by blending it, hitting it with a baseball bat, that kind of thing. So obviously, his idea was to try to jump on that ability that Trump has to go after him. So, I mean, do you think that's the only way these guys are going to get their name, guys and gals, get their name into the hat and get more coverage?
Yeah, I mean, look, here's the deal. Here's the problem, and I think Basil would echo this on the Democratic side. But political people, political advertising people, you know, we think big is a video that we create that gets, you know, 250,000 views, right? And I'm not talking about Obama stuff, but kind of sub-Obama. 250,000 views, we think we've done something rock star. You know, Donald Trump understands that 250 million views is big. And so he thinks bigger than a lot of these candidates. And I think, you know, sounds like Senator Graham was trying to capitalize a little bit, but it's going to be hard when you have a traditional political team to just change your mindset to think like that. And so I think what they're doing is, again, waiting and hoping that Trump will say something that just absolutely crosses the line. And, you know, I personally thought that it could have happened when he was talking about McCain and talking about, or could have been construed as talking about veterans who were captured in war as, you know, people he didn't admire. And I know he's obviously clarified statements, but But all of these other camps are clearly waiting and watching and hoping for him to say something that just ends this thing. But at the same time, you hear them say, hey, we're going to get him when it comes to actually grassroots organization. So the terrifying thing, if I'm one of his opponents, is what if Donald Trump invested in a very high-end ground game? Because I'm someone who's been to Iowa. I've been in those phone bank rooms during the caucuses. I've actually spoken at a caucus in northern Iowa. And I will tell you that, we have a view of Iowa as being this highly organized machine and everybody's involved and, it's world-class. It's, again, Obama-esque on the Republican side. And my experience from the last cycle was that it wasn't that way at all. It was much more kind of folksy, old school, low tech.
Right.
And if somebody like Trump with the resources that he has went in there and actually organized a state like that, then everybody's got to watch out. And, then we'll just see.
I tell you,
Basil, you think Trump can stay on the top of the polls? I mean, you talked about Iowa that Chris just spoke of. I mean, you think he can stay there?
He'll stay there for a little while, as I said before, because I think people want to see him at the debate. His performance at the first or second debate, assuming he's on that stage, I think will say a lot for how much longer he'll actually be in the top top two, top three among Republican contenders. But I think going back to Chris's point earlier, he makes a really good one, because he said a number of things that I thought would have sort of completely ended his campaign. But as long as he remains close to the top in terms of polling, it seems like every other Republican candidate is not only going to have to defend the party, but they're going to actually have to defend the individuals that he's going after within the party, and it takes away from their messaging when they're trying to sort of push ahead. So they're totally on defense. There's really no offense that they're playing while he's in this race and while he's doing well.
That's a great point.
Right.
Great point, Basil.
It's a great point, and it's curious to see too after that debate what the Saturday Night Live take's going to be on it as well. So you can bet, like we saw.
Well, who gets to play him? Who gets to play him?
Yeah, at the '92 special with Ross Perot on Saturday Night Live. I still have that on tape someplace. All right, Basil Smikle Jr. and Chris Turner. Yep, absolutely. Thanks for joining us. We appreciate you guys coming in the strategy room. Check out more FoxNews.com for the 2016 presidential race, plus all the information on the upcoming debates as well. I'm Adam Housley. Thanks for watching.